Okay, good morning, everyone. So I'd love to see what's happening in the sphere of sadhana and consciousness. Yeah, what's coming up today? And if we have anyone who is in the 7-day cycle, I'd love to hear report just anything that's coming up in your meditation practice or in the Dyads or anything that's happening. Yeah, just a little check-in. So, yeah, we'll start with Shaheen.
Hi, Dan.
Hello.
Oh, I see Swiss has got a hand up. I thought no one's had his hand up, but anyway.
That's
Hey, hi,
okay.
yeah.
No, it's
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
yeah, I think in the last 3 weeks specifically yesterday, when I joined the retreats, there's this deep sense of like presence. Like right now, it's like I can like feel it, right?
Mhm.
And I always wanted to have this access to it, always on all the time. And today I was just sitting and like meditating because I'm not really in the 7-day perpetual, but I'm trying to like integrate it in my like daily life. And I can just feel that presence there. It's all the time. It's accessible. I wanted to know, does it get stronger? Because I was thinking it can be very useful in like daily life, meet with conflict and from your perspective as a teacher, um,
Yeah,
if you
so
can shed some light.
that sense of presence, does it get stronger over time? That's the question.
Mm,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think it seems that way. So I don't know if the awareness, or that presence actually changes, but I think what seems to be the case is the more sadhana we do, the more we abide in presence with that intention. Um, it's like a side effect of doing sadhana or a byproduct of doing sadhana. There's this clearing of the mind that happens and this sort of embodiment process that happens. And different traditions and different teachers speak about it in different ways. So, for example, in Vedanta, they speak about Turiya. So Turiya is, the ground of existence. The just that primordial awareness that's just here all the time. As you mentioned, it's this realm of thoughts and attention of the mind that's always changing, but yet there's this steady ground of beingness that becomes more and more apparent um, as we go deeper on the path, and it's there through even waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. So that is you know, the embodiment of the path is when that groundless ground sort of um, becomes more you. The sense of I is with that rather than this field of changing phenomena. It becomes clear that what we are is not just phenomena or this character, but it's that which remains in deep sleep. And so that embodiment, the further we go on the path, the more um, we are sort of abiding as that true self, and that process is um, like in the Awakening Mind Part 3, we really go into that with the ox herding pictures, where there are these different stages of embodiment and different stages where we there's a sort of dissolving of everything that's false, and then what remains is sort of life itself, just living itself.
mm,
So that's
yeah.
amazing. That's, if you're noticing that that is always present, that's a
Mm,
huge You're not. I get a sense there's no seeking anymore now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and even I think yesterday the question came up in the mind like, what did I do? I didn't do anything. It's just it's
yeah,
just it's just on. Yeah. And something else, like where I'm from, there's no one that does like retreats, like like this way. This is space and stuff. And if something ought to like manifest where I am, how would how would you kind of go about like kind of approaching it in a way that um yeah, we just allow it to like kind of find expression.
yeah. Well, if that awareness is just here, then life becomes your sadhana. Like every
Mm,
moment, you can just see if attention has gotten sort of um, you know identified with the phenomena that's arising, or is there a sense that I'm just abiding as that
mm,
beingness? And that is true sadhana. The retreats are really, if they're good retreats, they're designed to get you to this point where
mm,
you recognize who you are. You recognize that that beingness that is here, and then the mind may still have that seeking momentum, and it's like, okay, I want to do the
mm.
next retreat. I want to do,
Yeah.
maybe do plant medicine or whatever it is, and the
Yeah.
mind, that momentum of the mind. It's like what Ramana said. When we recognize it, it's like pulling the plug on a fan, and the fan still has motion. So those remaining vasanas and samskaras, they'll still come up, and the mind will still think, "Oh, I have to do something. I have to achieve something. I have to
Mm.
purify something." And but the, but the
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
the thing that thinks it has to purify, is what needs to be purified. That's the whole thing. So when
Yeah.
so when
Mm,
we see that absurdity and that paradox, then there's a great sense of ease that can come with and just being. Life becomes our sadhana. Yeah. And we still there may be times where we're just naturally drawn to doing more actual formal practice. There may be just energies that present themselves, but I think it's important to notice if the mind is on a mission to do something, or thinks
mm.
it has to integrate something, or
Yeah.
all of that. It's just all thoughts in the mind, because everything, liberation is here in this moment. It's just recognizing what's already present here, and not believing those thoughts. And purification happens then on its own if we just abide as the self.
Yeah. Oh, that's the one thing that's coming up. I think this was like there in the mind like for like since last year. Um, I think after awakening, like I kind of follow the traditional meditation, like Buddhism kind of path. Um, I came across on YouTube DMT, and when I see here the experiences that people have, and then and you look at awakening, and you look at all this, the spiritual scriptures talking about certain things. Um, is it the same thing or? Yeah.
Yeah,
Because it seems like something like doesn't
yeah,
stay there with them when
yeah,
they do those. Yeah.
yeah. So if it comes and goes, or if it has a beginning and an end, it's not your true nature. Yeah. So everything in that realm, there can be like, at our retreats at the Samadhi Center, we've explored a lot of these things. We've explored
Oh, okay.
different plant medicines, and to see, how, because they can expedite the clearing process. Like whatever's in the unconscious. Sometimes, these things like iboga or mushrooms, they open the veil sort of, and you come face to face with everything that's in the unconscious much more quickly. So if somebody's ready for that, it can also be too much. For some people, if the
Mm.
nervous system isn't ready for that kind of an unveiling, if there's fear or trauma, that can come up in a big way. So it's good to have a sort of middle way with it. But what we've found, so at the center, we actually had we were sort of the subject of a study that was done, and in that study, we were doing self-inquiry, but also using some of these plant medicines. And we found for finding out your true nature, for having a Kensho experience, none of that mattered. It didn't make one bit of difference. There was no correlation between
Mm.
taking plant medicines and finding out who you are. But the what seems to be the case is the benefit of those things is there's that rewiring process where the body mind will, if we do have an awakening, the body mind goes through this sort of neuroplasticity, rearrangement, and I think my feeling is, just based on that study and what I've seen, is that after an awakening, that sort of embodiment may be more likely, or more, there may be a benefit for that embodiment process. So the physical rewiring um, of the body mind. So it can be useful for that. But all of these things like DMT, 5-MeO DMT especially, you can have these incredible, godlike experiences. Like it's like it's, in terms of peak experience, it doesn't get any more peak than these.
Mm.
It can be a complete dropping away of our self structure, and like a direct non-dual experience. But it's still an experience because it's part of the conditioned realm. You're
Mm.
you're 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 taking something, and there's a cause for that experience. It's like you've taken this molecule, but awareness doesn't need a molecule.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like it, like the,
It's a good
like
way to put it.
yeah, yeah. Like so the true peace and true liberation is it's just ordinary. It's just what's here in this moment. Like Lila made this beautiful um, little piece where, with her voice and everything. It's called the ordinary is holy, and it's really beautiful, and it's a really direct pointing to that realization that, if it's not here now, then it belongs to the realm of, experiences and phenomena. So my own feeling with, like, I've explored a lot of that stuff, and I felt
Okay.
um, it was very beneficial for, a kind of rewiring of the body mind. And we did it at our retreats, so I had a lot of opportunity to experience and
Okay.
explore it. and
Yeah.
and um, and I got to a point where, now it doesn't really matter, none of that, whether at,
Mm.
like, the final retreats that we did, whether I, took a plant medicine or not, it didn't. It's like that rewiring had sort of established itself. So I think they can be a good, if there's energy around it, there's something for some people on the path. That energy comes alive, and sometimes synchronicities will happen. It seems like the universe is putting this in front of you for a reason. So,
Mm.
so I think there's benefit, and there's also, it can obviously become a trap for some people, or if you start seeking experiences, those
Mm.
states can be very, very blissful for, sometimes. They can also be, um, hellish as well. So
Yeah,
if you have any preference to it, or you're chasing it, or you're trying to get the good experience and not the bad, all of that, it's another game for the mind. So I think there's an incredible benefit for the rewiring of the body mind. But if you know who you are, you know everything is here,
yeah,
and it doesn't matter. So yeah.
exactly. Okay, thank you so much.
Mhm. Yeah.
Cheers.
Thank you. Sveta, hello.
Hello, Dan. Hi, everyone. I think the most interesting thing starts to happen after 7 day because there is even I have a little bit of shivering now after meditation just now. There's I think something is being stirred. I'm not trying to identify what is it. Just something is happening. And curiosity forced me to raise my hand now. I wanted to ask you, I recently found tanka that I bought in Tibet in 2019,
Mhm.
just before Dark Night of the Soul I had.
Mhm.
So, and I put it on my wall. Do you know this tanka?
Oh yeah, that's the I forget. There's a name for that one, but it's yeah, it's the tantric union. Yeah.
Yes, but when I read it right now, just now before I put it on the wall, it says that it's primordial Buddha.
Hmm.
He symbolized the boundless nature of mind's essential reality.
Hmm.
White female figure symbolizes emptiness, which is beyond all concepts and forms and colors. And together they symbolize the union of non-dual union of wisdom and compassion, emptiness and bliss.
Hmm. Yeah.
So the question is following.
Hmm.
At some point, I was pulled to buy this, and I also, I don't know, something stirs energy in me. I don't know. Um, which I didn't experience yet. I'm not trying to understand it, but I wanted to ask you, is what I just described has some parallels with Satchitananda?
Hmm. Hmm. Yes. Yeah, it does. So so to me, um, yeah, so the different traditions have different words for all of this. So that figure is comes in, from different traditions. Like the Vajrayana Buddhism is a very tantric kind of system, and really what it represents, represents you. The whole picture is you. It's your sort of non-dual nature, but it's showing the dual aspect of that. So so when we know who we are, beyond that duality, beyond name and form, that's sometimes referred to as the marriage of Shiva and Shakti. So like for example, in the Heart Sutra, that phrase, form is exactly emptiness, emptiness is exactly form. So that direct, non-dual, embodied experience of life, of all that is, it is bliss. It's Satchitananda. It's bliss, but it's also emptiness. It's an empty bliss. It's like form and emptiness. So these words are it's very tricky to use these words, because we use a word and we're pointing to something, but when the words fall away, what remains? What is that direct experience in the moment? And it's life itself. Life itself is that bliss. So that Satchitananda, the truth recognizing the truth of what we are, when the mind is not labeling, the mind, the chit part of that word, chit is the mind, the mind is not limited, it's the true mind or the open mind. Then life is just flowing through. There's no analyzing, there's no reducing valve, you know. And so when there's no reducing valve, it's bliss, it's ananda. So Sat Chit Ananda is that it's the direct experience, and there's a million words for this. It's so interesting to get into these different traditions, but it's just being here in this moment, being as you are without attention on that limited mind. Yeah, and that union is. That it is bliss. It's in the tantric world. It's it starts out. It seems like there are these practices and these, there's energy that seems to be apart from you. When people have these Kundalini awakenings, which I think you mentioned, maybe you had something like that on your journey. So, so it seems like there's this energy that comes alive and it's doing stuff and it has this intelligence and it's powerful but eventually the more conscious we are with it, the more integrated it becomes and it is just life itself. Eventually it doesn't seem like something separate from you. It literally just becomes more of you. As long as we don't go into the mind and start making a story about it and making another identity, because that can happen. When that energy comes alive, then sometimes people will make all kinds of stories or turn it into some knowledge for the mind, and then before you know it, you've got another part of the psyche or the persona that is identified with that in some way. So I think that staying with the direct experience and keeping that not knowing mind is the way to just allow that Satchit Ananda to flourish, I guess.
I noticed that since that 2019, I just maybe last week I had a thought about it. My life felt like it had a timeline. After that, now it feels like there is no timeline.
Mm.
It's like just happening.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't come like past, present, and future and step by step. It's just
Mm-hmm. That's
a
beautiful. Yeah,
whirlpool, and
yeah.
you can't catch it.
Yeah, well, that
Just
that
in it.
that timeline is the old script.
Mm.
It's yeah, and a lot of people have, when they have a realization of who they are, they'll see like there's been a period of time that it has been like a script. It's like a timeline or like train tracks. Life has been on a certain track. And then but then you wake up and it's like, wait a minute, like, like they recognize maybe sometimes, there's a recognition of having been a little child where awareness was just here in presence. And then it's like life went on this track and then it's like, wait a minute, I'm back here again. Here I am again, like how did it's like having a dream almost, and that's what samsara is. It's that script, that dream script, and yeah. So that's amazing that you feel you're not in that script anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm following most of the time that curiosity. Whichever pulls me, I just embrace it or follow it. And I found out that in 2009, after my first visit to Tibet, I've posted on Facebook something like, I always wanted to come back home, but I never knew where is it.
Mm.
And when I read it again, like some years later, I realized what was writing these words,
Mm.
if you understand.
Yeah, yeah.
Say,
Wow. Wow, that's beautiful. Do you feel like you're home?
yes.
Mhm.
There's not much certainty in my voice, I know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, the mind is if the mind is certain or the mind is uncertain, it's still the mind.
hmm.
But you are just here.
Yeah. And also, very small, interesting thing from last Tuesday talk with you. I spoke to you, and after that, you were speaking to Eva, I believe. And sometimes some glitches happening, and they're very peculiar. I was looking at the picture of you, and there was a feeling that I know you. Not because I saw you a few times, but I knew you before the times and after the times. And then Eva started to talk, and I'm looking at the screen and I know you, like on a very undescribable deep level.
Mm. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, it's interesting. One of the self-inquiry facilitators was saying something very similar about the participants. We were having a discussion after the little mini intensive on the weekend, and yeah, she felt like certain people. It's like she knew them. It was like there was like this deep knowing just looking into people's eyes. And yeah, yeah, and I feel that as well. Sometimes I see that, when awakening is happening, it's like you see past the person, and it's like awareness somehow recognizing itself.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
the greatest teachers, they probably see that in everyone, but it's like the veil is thinner for some people, so we can see it more easily with some people. But yeah. Hmm.
That's it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Lisa.
I think it's still morning where I am. So, good morning, everyone. Namaste. Yeah, I didn't really have a question, but until Sabine and Sveta spoke, yeah, things just come up. So, and and when you actually respond, things come up. So, just a couple of observations. Referring to Shabine's question about about the DMT, I recently had a really amazing experience without drugs, alcohol, and it was through dance. So
Mm.
I highly recommend that because you can get so in your body, but um, in all timelines. Let's just say that. I mean, it's just so amazing. It's cheap and cheerful it's free to dance, just like no one's watching. And so I highly recommend that. And because I can give you the same experience because I've done mushrooms, I've done LSD and all of that. And the other thing is, I don't know if anyone's familiar with the telepathy tapes, and they launched about a year ago with the study of the autism, and they're discovering now because the psychologists or psychotherapists are also telepathic now because consciousness is expanding. So now they can communicate with the children who are nonverbal, who could never speak, but they were always telepathic. And with one of the psychotherapists, she can communicate with the autistic children. And what she saw is that they're just not in their body. That's why they're just so discombobulated. They're not here, there, anywhere because they're not grounded. So she saw all of their bodies floating above them, like light bodies, kind of like a little cutout doll. and and they were telling her that the reason why seventh, eighth, ninth dimensional beings, they can't come into such a dense body yet, for these new, I call them new kids on the rock. And so they're holding a frequency just for humanity, these children, which is amazing, until we raise our consciousness, then we can meet halfway and then they can come into their bodies fully. And it's not until we raise our consciousness and more out of separation into oneness, which is kind of what we're all here doing and being. And so I thought that was pretty amazing because I know the first part of my journey was really out of body. I mean, we all want to be up, up, up and, you know, experiencing all the astral realms and all that stuff. But I think the second part, like the back half, I call it, is the embodiment, true embodiment, because that's where because that's why we're here. So it just made sense when they said that, because when we do connect matter and spirit together, because we might be more spirit, because humanity, I think, is in between spirit and matter. And I don't know what, I think there was something else I wanted to say, but I think that's it. If you have any comments about either of those topics.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, for the dance part, of course, we love at the center here. We do ecstatic dances, which you know because you've been.
I didn't want to say anything,
Yeah.
but the Shiva, like Shiva, like
Mhm.
he is the dance, like he's the in the circle
Yeah.
dancing.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think a lot of these things, like that, at the retreats we've done here, we've incorporated, ecstatic dance. So there's always like these things that are sort of experiential components. So using the gongs and sound healing, and people have these incredible peak experiences, and the dance or the entheogens can be the same, but so there's that, and then there's the inquiry and the just being with what is the other, and I think that the two, it's like there's a sort of, I think in one of the films I talked about burning the candle at both ends, So we're inquiring, directly into just what's here now. But at the same time, we have these peak experiences, and I think what happens is like there is a rewiring, and the more we have those peak experiences, it's like our baseline of bliss gets higher and higher, to eventually, we it's just life is that bliss, So the ordinary is it, So these experiences, they show us, what's possible for life. They give us a taste of, this peak experience that at some point on the journey, it's like way up here, but if our baseline is growing and growing, and our embodiment is growing, then eventually it's like that's just life. Life is that ecstatic sat chit ananda all the time. So I think it's both. All these practices are amazing because they do start to raise that, and it's just being with what is. Ultimately, that's the paradox of it, is that the most beautiful peace and bliss is just here now. It's uncaused. If we're doing it through dance or through psychedelics, then it's caused. Which is, it's great to give a taste, but eventually it leads us to what is uncaused. That which just flows from being itself.
Yeah, and when you're dancing with everyone, you see them, but it almost feels eventually you're just dancing by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
was just so amazing. And then when you went like this, because our eardrums, because the drum, the beat, I think is yeah, so the eardrum meets the pineal gland. It's just like when you did this, it just reminded me. So I know that the eardrum, it has a frequency, so it's really fast. But we forgot how to listen. I think listening is a really big part of our awakening. So this gets clear. This just when all the noise and the surface energies and all those emotions for the past day or two or whatever start to clear, and we really listen. There's like,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's the sound,
Mm-hmm.
and then it just goes, what just hits this, the pineal. Anyway, I've been experiencing that, and yeah, I think that's it.
Mm-hmm. There's a really neat talk from Rudolf Steiner, who talks about he always talks about the organs of extra perception. So we have the third eye, but there's also sort of a third ear as well,
Yeah.
where we let go of that sort of conceptual part of the hearing process that is tied to memory and all of that. And when we can kind of open the mind, the hearing has a sort of extra dimension as well. And some of the, like iboga, actually, one of the entheogens, it's very sort of targeted to that. It's a lot of people find that that can give a little taste of that
Oh, wow.
experience. But what you're describing is, yeah, it's part of it. It's mysterious. I think all of these senses, when we open the mind and let go of that conceptual filter, eventually it's one system sort of communicating within itself, and there are these separate sort of energetic components or chakras or whatever you want to call them, but it's all on a more energetic layer. So
Wow,
yeah.
since we're speaking about organs, and I'll just stop after this. So the other one is intestines. So those are the lowest density of the body because everything's stuck in the intestines, um, and I think once that's clear, because that really opens the central life force channel, is when the intestines are clear. And I just remember doing a detox. Anyway, so speaking about organs, because I know that's a major one, is the intestines, because that's
Mm-hmm.
where the tube or the garden hose just gets so blocked, and then communication or whatever you're wanting to channel or whatever, that's just another one. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just wanted to put
Yeah,
that out
awesome.
there.
In Ayurveda, there's a connection between thinking and the digestion as well. There's like literally a channel between those two. So if your mind is disturbed, your digestion is disturbed as well. So
Yeah, no, it's all
yeah.
connected. That's why I
Hmm.
think embodiment is super important.
Hmm.
So, anyway, I won't take any more time.
Hmm.
Thank you so much,
Beautiful.
everyone. Namaste. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you. Thank
See
you.
you soon.
Yeah. I never really mentioned the about what you were talking about with other beings who are sort of waiting around as well. And yeah, my feeling is like a lot of what we see as people who don't quite fit into the supposedly normal world, mental illness, or you know different sort of disabilities. There are, yeah, different vibrations there for sure that are sometimes heart connections that are possible when that conceptual mind may not be as attuned to society as others, but there may be deeper possibilities there for sure. So yeah. So,
Yeah, and just one other thank you for that. And then one other thing, Sveta mentioned the timelines, and yeah, those timelines are long gone. But now I don't know if you guys are noticing, but things are missing. Like you might have placed your keys and they disappear. Like my husband said the other day, I think we have goblins in our house because I just put my tools here, now they're gone. And it's just so funny because it feels like we are kind of going on these other timelines, if you want to call them that, or parallel realities. And a few people have just popped back into my life, and I don't even like I know them, but it's like it feels like a lifetime ago.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that weird? It's like you hung out with them and now it's like, wow, that feels like a lifetime ago that I knew these people, like
Mm-hmm.
another Lisa, another time, another timeline, or whatever you want to call it. And it just feels weird. I don't know if anyone else is noticing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like for me, my own experience, with the past, I've had so many little versions of the Dan character. Now, if I go back and interact with people who only knew an old version, yeah, it's like an old, they from their perspective, they feel like I'm a certain way. They expect a certain kind of way of being, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, when that doesn't happen, there's a definitely it's kind of like this dream character that you're not anymore. So
It's just kind of weird. I don't want to act that way though, because I know they're calling the old Lisa
yeah,
and they
yeah,
want to meet up for a coffee, but I know it sounds bad, but I don't really want to go for the coffee.
mm-hmm.
And I shouldn't judge. And maybe we're on the same frequency. Maybe that's why they're reconnecting. But
Mm-hmm.
thank you
Yeah,
so
you
much.
never know. Yeah, okay,
Okay, take care.
take care. Go to Nawal.
Hello.
Hello.
Uh, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Last week, no, I think the week before, I was asking you about and you said something that I'm in transition state or something because I left my job and so this week, there is something in my life happening and I cannot make a decision how to know that impulse when I feel impulse and is from my heart intuition or it is from my ego. Like
So how do you know if it's coming from the heart or if it's coming from the ego? Mm-hmm.
yes.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good question. Um, so for you, what is it that is coming up for you? Is it something around like money or relationships or job or is it
Relationships. See,
okay?
here I am in Saudi Arabia, so
Mm-hmm.
usually marriage here is traditional. So
Mm-hmm.
someone that I don't know is asking my family to marry me. So it's been a while since anyone came to ask me for marriage. So recently, yes, someone came, but in my heart, like I knew someone since 2023. Yeah, last time I spoke with him was 2024. But since I've been in my heart, I was saying, I don't know, suddenly, without any reason, I remember him. And it's my heart is said, he's my husband for almost a year now, more than a year.
Mm-hmm.
But now, with the new person coming and asking me for marriage, um, I was confused because that person is actually there is no connection now with the person who I thought was gonna be my husband. But this one, I'm saying like, okay, maybe this one, the new one, is my husband.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I'm still thinking about that one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, so this is so for me, what's coming up first is is there something that the Nawal character is looking for in these relationships? Is there something in that in a marriage that um, you know that you feel is lacking in you, that you're going to get something from this experience.
I don't know, like, yeah, I think I want things for actually in a marriage, but I am worried because I experienced a lot of lovely things with the person I used to talk to years ago. I'm worried I cannot find them in this person.
So I think, for me, I don't know the answer for you at all. I have, I think, but for me, what I've seen is, when we really start to examine, see within our own mind and body, are there, like, what is in play in this question? Is there maybe an expectation? Is there, I don't know if there's any of that is there for you, or, there's an expectation that you will be married. There's a, maybe there's a sense of security in that. Just whatever pattern might be in play, just see the pattern, see what is it that is, what is unfolding for you. And when you see everything that is in play, so it's not unconscious, then, usually, whatever energies remain after that, when you see the conditioned mind, and you realize that's not you, then what is it that remains? What does life want to experience through you? Is there an aliveness and an energy that is there when you get that mind out of the way? Is there a connection, a life connection? What wants to be lived through you? And so that's it's not a figuring out, with the mind. The mind likes to figure these things out, to get more information, get the right answer.
Yeah.
But for me, there's something deeper here, where, if we kind of let go of all that figuring out, all the analysis in the mind, is there something deeper here that wants to be lived through life? And I can't answer that. You have to feel that life.
Excuse me. I want to reject this person because I don't know. Actually, like, I feel like, no, this is wrong. I want to that person that I knew years ago. I don't know if it's attachment or obsession or what it is. I know that in some period I used to reject because I think it's not normal. Since also there is no connection. We don't connect, and then but still it's in my mind all the time.
Yeah.
And
This is really, these are really good self-inquiry questions. Like, has the mind, this idea of what it wants, and, some past experience, so that's a part of the mind. You're not feeling that connection. So yeah, these are ways to really deeply explore, and to just see all of it. Yeah, and what remains will be, when you see clearly all of those things that are in play, those whatever the mind is looking for, you see it, but what remains, even beyond that, what is really alive for you, and that energy will not lie. That's, to me, that's the heart, is that aliveness and that energy, and and the mind, there might not be a knowing. The mind wants to know, is it A or B? Should I do this or that? When we let go of that, the heart is just alive, and that we kind of feel our way with that.
So you think I don't have to make a decision now? I just want just to live.
Beautiful.
Only.
Yeah.
Also, I want to mention that day I prayed and asked God for guidance in this issue. Then there is a video on YouTube just showed on my For You page, and then it was it's kind of related to this topic, like I don't remember the title of it was God's plan will work for you, don't worry.
Very nice. Yeah.
So I felt comfortable listening to that video. And then the next day when my mother called me, I felt confused again, like I forgot.
Yeah, family can tend to do that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so that's beautiful, God's plan, or you could say the heart's will, not the family's will or the little will, but the heart's will. Yeah, for me there's a trust and an aligning, that can happen when we it sounds like you were just open, and that message came for you. So yeah, that's beautiful. So I would say, yeah, just keep going in the heart's direction.
The issue is my mind is so in a hurry. Like I want to answer, I want now. Like, yes, that person, I want him now.
Yeah. Well,
For some reason, like I don't know.
Are you? Yeah, that's what the meditation practice is really helpful for that. Just allow what is in this moment, and the mind will settle down. The more we just see it. There's nothing we have to do to make it settle down. It's just seeing it. Yeah, just seeing it, getting to know its tricks. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Do we have any other hands? Ruben. Hi, Ruben. Get you to unmute. Hello. Oh, you're muted again there. Sorry.
How about now?
There we go. Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't going to raise my hand today. I was in the I am, and I just was watching these amazing, beautiful beings just there. I was just in the I am. But then at the end, I was like, you got to share. You got to share. And so, where to start? Ayahuasca 3 times. First time, before I did ayahuasca, I asked the guy, what is this? And he's like, well, have you ever smoked pot? And I said, no, not really. And he said, well, in pot, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and ayahuasca will take you to 50. Like, and so I did ayahuasca, and the next day I was just silent. I was just completely quiet. I couldn't say anything because it was beyond words. And the guys were looking at me and they knew. So there's silence. There's just silence. And so the next time I did ayahuasca, nothing happened at all. And I was kind of like upset. I was like, why are you upset? It's like, because life itself is ayahuasca. It's everywhere. It's all around us all the time. Yeah. And so the last week when I spoke and I said, everyone's awake, I meant the true being, not the character. Like you said many times, the character will never awake. The character never awakes. It's like going into a movie and watching a movie from Brad Pitt and expecting Benjamin Button to turn around and say, "Hi, what are you doing for lunch?" It's not going to happen.
Mhm.
And so these characters that we are, Ruben, Dan, Julie, Jason, all of those are just the characters that we're playing in very recently. I was just thinking, it doesn't matter if you're a pauper, a president, a ditch digger, a gold digger, a queen or a queen. Those are just characters. Those are just characters. It doesn't matter. So this one being that we all are is awake. It's this, but it doesn't even know it's awake. It's there's no duality. There's no duality. So it's like in the I am is the only place you can experience this. And as soon as something else is said, you're out,
Mhm. Yeah,
which is ridiculous. How can you express something that can't be expressed?
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
So
it's true. It's at the very beginning of this session, yeah, we spoke a little bit about Turiya and, you know, that that groundless ground, that field, or how whatever you want to call it, it's like a dimension of just pure awareness, and it's always here, and it's everything,
yeah,
and but yet we don't have that direct experience until we do. We don't know ourselves to be that
yeah,
until we somehow, by grace or by sadhana, all this pathless path, leads us to this direct knowing. And yeah, and that is, I think, that is the hallmark of being awake, is that it's not I am awake.
yeah.
It's like awakeness is just awake. It's everything. It's this
It,
this whole human experience is that. Yeah.
it's really interesting. Like, for instance, if I were to ask Dan, "Are you awake?" And if you
Mhm.
said yes, that would be Dan. But the
Yeah.
real you can't say yes.
Yeah, I know. This is the cosmic joke of
Yes,
language.
yes.
Yeah, anyone who would take ownership of it
Eh,
is
you're out.
is the little character.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah. So language, yeah, it is a language game that we're playing here, and all these talks and satsangs. It's like stirring this pot of language, and occasionally there's little pointers that
yeah,
land, and it's like, and it's in that pointing and that cessation of
yeah,
the language that we actually get a glimpse of,
yeah.
or a possible
So
glimpse. Yeah.
yeah, so ayahuasca is like looking at the back of the book or the answers, but it's not the life itself is the ayahuasca,
Hmm.
and it's just being here. And so I showed my video to which is not my daughter, that daughter, I would say, better phrased, and she said, "But you're my dad." And I'm like, "Uh, I'm the dad," but
Yeah.
it's hilarious. So
Yeah.
appreciation for everything.
Yeah, there's with language. There's always, like my family. If I were to actually speak in non-dual language to my family, they'd be extremely disturbed. So because they wouldn't it,
That's
it wouldn't land. So I refer to dad
my
as my
dad.
my dad. Yeah,
Right,
because
right,
like
right, right.
to him, there's this Dan character that's his son, and occasionally there may be little openings or possibilities of something beyond that, but not really, not usually.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so yeah, it's
It's like
interesting.
being in the I am. You can't say anything.
Hmm. Yeah,
Something to be said.
yeah.
Anyways, just appreciation. That's all I have. I just wanted to say thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's beautiful to see just the journey.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. So it seems that there is a silence has descended over the group here. It's beautiful. Well, rather than continue to say more words, I think this is a beautiful place to end today's session. And yeah, thank you everyone for being here and for connecting and for the sharing. Yeah, beautiful connection today. Thank you. Thank you all.